Hello and welcome to a Talking Told podcast. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by
Hayden.
And today we're going to be talking about the TMNT 2012 Season 1 Episode 24, Operation Breakout. So, what do you think about this episode, briefly?
Briefly is a word, but if I had to describe this episode briefly, this episode was awesome. There's no other words to describe it, because we get to meet some new people, which I really was excited about, and just seeing a whole new change to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe.
Yeah, I'd say that this episode was a really interesting one. And I do like how the Neutralizer was introduced, and I feel like you're probably going to say he's probably the best part about the episode. And just everything about him made this episode amazing. Okay, so we started this episode off with Donnie and Raph training in a dojo, but yet Donnie thinks that he's won, but then Raph overpowers him. What do you think about this scene?
This scene I don't really have much to say on. It's the dojo and they're training like usual, but April's in the mix now, which is kind of awesome to see her training alongside the Turtles, which is really awesome to see as well. But yeah, I got really nothing much to say about the scene on how Donnie was. Well, we know Donnie's simping for April, but we was seeing him simp again for April and how he wanted to be looking cool and awesome in front of her. It weren't too bad, but, you know, simping. We don't tolerate that, but it's gotten better. But overall, nothing too much to say. But I must say, how many carpets do you need in a dojo? I've just got to say it.
Well, no, because if you think about it, like karate and all that, or ninjutsu, you're always flipping people over and backflips and stuff like that. It just makes more sense to just have it all padded out just in case. Just because when I was younger doing what was it? Not karate. It'll come to me in a minute. But I was doing one of those ones and. We were like flipping people all over the place, and if you go straight onto like a hard floor, then you know you'd hurt yourself a lot more. And just like having the extra protection there is just there for. I know it's just there just in case. But yeah, but also just make the whole place look a lot nicer as well. But with this scene, I'll just say that I thought the scene overall was quite enjoyable. And I wanted to say that it was like a really good way of showing how far Donnie has come, because you remember like in the first episode of the show, he went up against Raph and he got a bit overconfident in a way, and then lost. But here we see him fighting Raph and actually winning in a way, for a little bit. So I do like how it does show Donnie has come quite a long way since the first episode. But I do think there was some iffy bits throughout the scene, as you already mentioned. I mean, the puppet Donnie thing, yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, after that we do have Kirby sending Donnie or April a message, and that's when Donnie decrypts it and goes after Kirby. What do you think about this scene?
Well, the first scene of that scene was a bit weird, because the Turtles are chilling out. April's sitting down on her laptop doing her stuff. And of course, this weird email comes through, and it's all in Krang language. And my first thoughts on that was like, hold up, why did she get an email from Krang language? Is there something going on here that we don't know about? Secondly, I'm surprised even Donnie could even decrypt Krang language. And thirdly, Donnie has some skills that no one can comprehend. Like, I say this every episode, Donnie is god tier, the GOAT at just making stuff and fixing stuff and sorting stuff out. He's just the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have really too much to say about it. I mean, it does seem very. I mean, must admit, looking back now, noting that Kirby's still like a mind controlled and all that from the Krang and all that. I know it does seem like a bit sus in a way with Kirby, but at the same time, when you're thinking about it, it's not. So I don't know, it's a weird scene because on one hand, there's like so many like signals. Because if you see like later with Kirby in the detention center, how did he get to it? So that I feel like this scene was like a real big red flag for like things to come, and I feel like there were other bits in this episode that shows that there was definitely red signs, but I don't know how Kirby was able to send it, and then like how Johnny was able to decrypt it. It does seem very weird, but I mean he still did it, so I guess that's something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll quickly have to talk about the April scenes first, if that's okay, because I feel like you got a lot to say about Neutralizer, probably.
Yes, I do indeed.
Okay, so let's start with April. She's first is training with Master Splinter, and Master Splinter is trying to show her something about moving or about hearing quietly, but that's when she goes off and when she hears different sound. What do you think about this scene?
First of all, it was really cool to see April training with Master Splinter again. I love it. She's becoming a female ninja, and it's just awesome. Just seeing her train. Secondly, how and why does she have super hearing? Is she somewhat of a secret superhero that no one knows about? And thirdly, how in how in just how does she find like this weird Krang communicator thing in the sewers, and why is it there to begin with? Like, I had so many questions with that. I just did not know how to answer them.
Okay, I must admit it's gonna be really frustrating for me to not talk about this sort of stuff. But like with the Krang orb thing, they don't actually explain why it's down there or how it got down there. So prepare to lose your mind over that for the next few nights.
Oh, jeez.
I must admit, at first when April was hearing the sound when Spencer couldn't, it did make April like sounding really crazy and all that. But then when she's going through these sewers, it was really giving me vibes of like Rat King because the first thing she heard was like the rats, and then all the other sounds which she was hearing were like sounds which we heard from the Rat King, and not to mention it was in sewers. And was it just me, or like did you get those kind of vibes, or was you just thinking something else?
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about the Rat King for a second, but now that you say it, I do see it now. Originally, I thought she was going crazy and that she was worrying about her father, as any good person would think. But to be honest, no, I can. Now that you say it, I can now actually see it in my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, the return of the Rat King. It's. I thought now that you've actually said it, I can actually see it happening. But I can't believe I didn't think of that.
Well, in all fairness, it only took me about 10 years to figure that out as well by myself. So at least it didn't take you that long. Okay, so going into the next lot of scenes. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly start with the scenes outside. Let's talk about the Leo, Raph, and Mikey scenes. Do you have anything to say about those scenes? Because I don't really have anything to say about them.
To be honest, I don't have much either, except that the part that Michelangelo goes into about how soft the heart is and how he's trying to be poetic and empathetic about the situation, and how he's like, seriously, man, you can't mess with the heart. Like Michelangelo was going into real poetry there. He was trying to make it like seem a really a sad scene. Like, dude, you don't mess with someone's heart. That's what he was trying to do. But to be honest, I didn't feel the connection as much because at the end he just said squish, and there was nothing else to say about that. I was like, okay, you had a role with the poetic scene, and now you decide just to cut it off, and that's the last we see of that, and which is a disappointment, but it kind of makes up for it in the end because we get to see someone new, something cool. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, I must admit, going off your point, I must admit there is one thing which I would like to say is that when before that team goes in, Mikey goes, "Oh, let's go." I don't know why everyone got really mad at him. I can understand Leo getting mad because that's his line. But like with Raph hitting him, what was the need for that? There was just no need for that. He just
Yeah. What's up with that?
you must admit, throughout this whole episode, I do think that Auditel's personalities are a bit off. Because like Donnie's more the confident one. I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with that, but it feels out of character for him. Raph is just more angrily stupid in this episode for no reason. Mike is doing poetry, and Leo's just there. I mean, I don't know why all the characters really felt off in a way. Even though they felt like normal selves, they were just a bit different, and I don't think it worked too well for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. It was very weird to see that Donnie actually grew a spine for once in this episode, and it was kind of off-putting. It's like, hold on a minute, is this an imposter? Is Donnie actually Donnie?
Yeah. So after that, we do have Donnie going into the building and fighting the Krang. With this scene, I thought it was like a really cool scene, really cool one to see how Donnie is able to handle them on his own. But I will say this about the Krang. They have really good stealth. I mean, it wasn't just one Krang, it was 4 of them that was able to sneak up on him and could have potentially killed him. So, why aren't these specific Krang doing more?
Yeah, to be honest, I was even surprised myself. Like, the Krang are metallic organisms, they clank around a lot, you can hear them. And surprisingly, these ones snuck up on him with little to no ease. It was just really weird how it was so different. Unless these are a special type of Krang, like stealth Krang, for instance. Because we've already got this, like the submersible Krang. We've got the flying Krang. We've got the suit Krangs. They still creep me out to this day. But yeah, it was very weird on how they actually snuck up on him, and I'm still trying to figure out how and where they would hide. Sure, you got the cars, but yeah, I just couldn't understand that myself, really.
I would like to say something about the cars. They all feel like PS2 game cars, or like game cars, not cars within this universe. I mean, one that Mikey drives in another scene reminds me a lot of a homeless car from The Simpsons. I don't know if
OMG.
I don't know if you picked up on like those type of cars of how they looked, or
Now that you say it, yes, I see it now. Now that you've said it, I can actually see it. And yeah, definitely, those cars looked a bit off. Like, they looked a bit old for the generation that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe is set in, because it's like the modern 21st century. It's like early modern 2000s, and those cars kind of look like old 90s and 80s cars, if you understand where I'm coming from, right?
yeah. Well, yeah, I was not too sure like, what to make of. I mean, I must admit they were like there's the job of like, being old cars and garage and all that, but at the same time, they didn't look like they were in part of this universe. I mean, the animation for those cars made it look like they were like something from like a game or something from like the early 2010s or something like that. Didn't really fit in line with the turtles.
Yeah.
But yeah, going into the next scene, we do have Donnie taking a picture of himself to give to a Krang to take out a Krang. I must admit, I do like the effort that Donnie put in to take out that one Krang. I wish he did it more often.
Oh yes, definitely. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good move. Like, how he just laid the trap perfectly, and how he just took out the Krang with ease. And that, I really want to see more of that from Donnie. Like, he's the brains of the operation. Surely he would make more traps like that in future episodes to come. Which I want to see more. I want to see more of it.
Surprisingly, I mean, like throughout every Toll version, Donnie is always the one which always gets them not hate, but like least amount of attention to. He never really gets any like. This is probably the most amount of story arc he's ever gone. That's continuous. Throughout like the 2003 show, he got one story arc at the end of in the final season, which lasted about 4 or 5 episodes. So, and then all the other comics, they do somewhat of a good job at doing a storyline. And in the most recent comics, he did have a storyline, but they didn't really do much with it. And then the most recent one, which is a lot weird one, they didn't give him any like stories, but they gave him like traits of I think like one of them was like he has people were saying he has autism. So like there's like so many different things about different versions of Donnie, but this is the one which has the most in terms of like a story. And it's a shame that like he doesn't really get to use his skills or anything, or even like I mean, as you said, like use his like tracks or anything, because because you could do like so many creative and fun things with Donnie, but yet for some reason they always push him to the sidelines. Um, but yeah, but then the next scene we do have Donnie opening up the cells and releasing Neutralizer. So the first thing which I want to say is that I think it would have been cool to see a lot more mutants from the scene. Second, how did the Krang not know that there was a mutant in there? And third of all, what do you think of Neutralizer?
Oh, well. First of all, when Donnie opened up the scene, sorry, the cells, I mean, it was really weird because I thought there would be more mutants and more people down there per se. For how many cells there were quite a few cells, and most of them were empty except for Kirby and the neutralizer. And I really kind of wanted to see more chaos, like maybe a prison riot per se, or
Oh, that would be
maybe more
amazing.
mutants. Oh, a prison riot. That would just be awesome. Just seeing the chaos and how the Krang's trying to deal with them and how the turtles are breaking out Kirby whilst the neutralizer's going on a flipping rampage. That would be an awesome thing. I would watch that for sure. I would
Oh yeah.
definitely I would put money on that. I would actually want to see it. I want to see the prison riot, and that would have just made the episode 10 times more better than it already is. Sure, it's already a good episode with the neutralizer in it, but it could have been so much more with that prison riot.
Yeah. Okay, so Neutralizer, what do you think of him?
Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this. This is probably one of my favorite characters. He's up there with Master Splinter, Dog Pound, and Chris Bradford and Karai. I'm gonna say this now. Anyone that hates the Krang more than I do is a friend of mine in my books, and just seeing him decimate the Krang, the hatred he has for the Krang, oh, it was it was a beautiful sight to see him rip the Krang to shreds. And the crazy thing, I wasn't expecting this. He consumes the Krang. He actually devours the Krang. He eats it whole, swallows him whole, and just goes on an absolute rampage in probably gotta be the best weapons and armor that I have ever seen in a character by far on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. Besides from Shredder, he has just got the coolest weapons and armor, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I have to say even Neutralizer has like a really cool design. Everything about him is just so amazing. And when we get to his next episode, um, it gets so much better as he actually gets a voice in it. And the person, I don't know his name, but like, he's one of those people that like you say his name, you don't know who he is, but when you see a picture of him, you're like, oh my god, you got that person to voice him. And yeah, but even within this episode, it just goes to show that you can have like, an amazing character appearance and all that, and you don't need to talk to have to just be amazing. But yeah, after that we've got Neutralizer hunting Donnie down, and then that's when Donnie gives Neutralizer the name. With this scene, I thought it was a really cool one for someone else to give a mutant a name. However, I do wish that it wasn't just like for a joke, because I mean, when Donnie said that, oh no, it didn't really seem like he was actually giving him a name. It seemed more of a joking thing. Oh, well, it seems more like a neutralizer, and not just, oh, he should be the neutralizer. What do you think of this scene?
Yeah, I had the same thought as you. I was thinking like the two of them were talking about what type of species was that, and I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of funny. Just seeing their two nerdy brains just nerd it out on what the hell this creature is and what it's doing there. They were just literally, they are the bromance is there. I can see it. Like the two minds, both professors in their own way, and it's going to be another Donnie. We're going to see another Donnie, and of course, we later on in the episode we see that it is literally the spitting image of Donnie, which I absolutely love. But yeah, I didn't feel like he wasn't giving them a name as such because it was just. I guess it was like the situation that they were in. They were running away. They almost got blown up by the neutralizer. Like, I guess it was like a first come, first serve basis before they died, I guess. Or well, almost died, but yeah, I'm not too sure about that. But I really wish they would actually like Mikey, for instance, he would actually say, "Oh, let's name it Dog Pound, Fish Face," something like that. But yeah, I do agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Well, after that, we do have the Orbitals come together to find the neutralizer, and then that's when Mikey gets mad. I must admit, I do really enjoy how Mikey is just as a face of thunder, looking at Dunny and being like, "Oh, you got a name without me." It works somehow.
Yeah, I found that funny. It just works, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how, but it just does. Wait, do you have anything to say about the whole fight scene in the underground bit? Because I don't really have anything to say other than it's just a really amazing and fun fight. It's just action packed, non-stop, and it just works really well. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it other than it's just a really good fight scene, but just non-stop.
Which one exactly? Because there are a few fight scenes down there, but I
Oh, I was
don't
talking about the
know.
ones in underground, like all of them, because I mean, it's sort of hard to really go. Oh yeah, specifically this one. I was just talking about them all really because yeah. I mean, there's anything you really specifically want to talk about here, then you can.
Ooh, well, I'm not gonna lie. The first few fight scenes they were good. It was certainly something for the turtles to train their skills on in the close, tight environments. But the one fight scene that I have got to love is when they're all fighting the Krang in the control room. And of course, they find the Krang. It's absolutely carnage. And then, of course, they bring in the neutralizer, and the neutralizer doesn't mess around. He literally grabs the Krang's head, rips it off, throws it against the wall, and just goes to town on the Krang. And that scene was that was prime right there. That was probably one of my favorite scenes. And trust me, there are more favorite scenes that I love in this episode, but that has got to be the one that stands out to me the most.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it must admit that fight scene was a really good one. Again, I don't have too much to say other than it was a really good, fun, action-paced one. But yeah, I must admit the only thing that did feel off about this whole scene in the episode was the fact that the Krang are revealed to place like a bug on Kirby, and there was like some other things which you do see, such as when Kirby when Donnie meets Kirby for the first time, he touches his neck, which like indicator for that, and I must admit, I would have preferred that reveal to be in like a later episode instead of showing it straight away within this episode. Because I do think it does take away that surprise when we do come to it. But yeah, definitely to say about that.
Well, I must say, it was very, very weird at the start when Donnie entered the cell of Kirby, and then, of course, Kirby's voice sounded a bit off when he said his name Donatello. I just gotta say, one, how does he know Donnie's name? Two, why is he so like he's very different. His like words are different, saying immediately, let's like immediately. And of course the first interaction just seemed really off to me. Like it was programmed into him, if you understand where I'm coming from with that. Like it just
Well,
set off
there may
red
be a
flags.
reason why. Yeah, yeah. You must be like Kirby throughout this episode is just sending off red flags. I mean, he's sending a message to Donnie without a way of getting out of his cell, and there's no way to send a message. And then when the first thing he touches was his neck, there are so many red flags throughout this episode. Okay. So I really do want to go on off a little topic here, but go with Kirby. So what do you think is going to happen with Kirby? Like with the Krang thing?
Well, I'm not too sure, but this episode left me with so many questions. I just couldn't figure out what. But like towards the end, I'm gonna go into more detail towards the end of this episode because it was a really like a huge plot twist. But we'll get to there when we get to there. But to be honest, I think Kirby is going to betray the turtles in the future episodes. Like Kirby just doesn't sit right. He just is. He just does not sit right, and he's setting so many red flags in my head. He's just not right. Like you can like in every like movie, TV program, you always see a character, right? And immediately from the sights, from his personality, what he's going to be like, and who's going to betray who, and that is literally the definition of Kirby. He looks like he's going to gain the turtles' trusts and absolutely betray them at the end in some horrible, unforeseen way that I can't even comprehend at this time.
Okay. Well, if your theory does turn out to be true, how long do you think it will take before Kirby is revealed to be like working for the Krang and all that?
Well, this stuff takes time, so I'm thinking it would be about 2 or 3 episodes per se until we understand Kirby's motives and his trust and his allegiance to. But I would say 2 to 3 episodes before Kirby goes full on psycho and betrays the turtles and potentially his own daughter. So I say 2 to 3. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, with the next scene where all the turtles are fighting the neutralizer on top of the garage, what do you think of this scene?
Okay, here is my other favourite scene of this episode. I just loved how the scene included Leo and Raphael, and of course the old cartoonish style approach for when they're fighting. I don't know why, but that stuck out to me most of all, and I just loved how they were fighting the neutralizer with just some swords and some shurikens. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you're going to butcher me in the comments anyways. But just seeing them fight the neutralizer was just an awesome scene. I just loved how they portrayed them fighting him, and of course, the knockout blow from Leonardo right into the neutralizer's face, knocking him out temporarily, for then Michelangelo just to come in and just crash him in the car. It was priceless. That was that is my second favorite scene in this episode, and it was just really cool to see how they are fighting different people. And of course, later on, I'm gonna go into more detail about the neutralizer because I have so much I want to say, but we'll get to there when we get to there.
I'll just say that this fight scene was like pretty interesting. I did really enjoy it. It was a really cool one. When Leo says to Don, get Kirby out of here to safety, all Don did was just walk behind or nothing. He just went out the garage or something like that. It didn't go really far. So yeah, but with the tells like Raph and Leo fighting, I loved that. It was just, I don't know, it felt like it had a new type of danger. Not like Shredder type danger, but not like Dog Pound or Fish Race type danger. It was like somewhere in between where it was dangerous enough for them to all be involved, but at the same time not dangerous enough for them to like die or anything. So I did really like the big like threat level. The things which I did find weird about it was I don't know if you noticed this, but like Raph would like throw up his fist with the side, and then also you see the next shot with like Neutralizer just blocking it. The next scene you see Lino throw down his swords onto Neutralizer and then pull him up, but then the next scene you see Neutralizer blocking it. So I must admit, it did make those scenes feel a bit unrealistic, as feel as though they were holding the characters back from actually properly fighting. But then the Marky Car thing was pretty cool, and and then going to the cringiest scene, Raph hyping up Donnie. Oh, I hate it. Oh, what do you think of that scene?
Yep, I feel you with that one, mate. That was probably the most cringe that we've experienced in a very long time, and not from Donnie, but from Raphael, the least likely person that I would think that would cause that amount of cringe on the cringe scale. It was just, I couldn't. I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
please stop,
Yeah,
please.
speechless about it.
Yeah, I don't have many words to say about that, but the one word that I can describe this scene was just pure cringe.
Yeah. And then also, I don't like the fact that Donnie saved April's dad, got him home after April has been looking for months, and basically her entire world was her dad, and all April can do is give him a hug. What did I say about that scene?
I'm not gonna lie, finally that we do see something blooming between Donnie and April in this episode. Like I've said this tons of times before in previous episodes, but now we see that the mutual benefit relationship comes into play, and of course, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed. Like, sure, Donnie got a hug from her, but surely, from the amount of times Donnie has saved her and the amount of times that the turtles have looked after her in the absence of her father, protecting her, giving her a roof over her head, feeding her, I just find it a bit like less. Like she gives him a hug. Alright, I'm alright with that, but I feel like Donnie was a bit more deserving of a bit more, if you understand where I'm coming from.
This is supposed to be a PG podcast.
Yes, I understand, but maybe like a yeah. Yeah.
Don't put images in people's minds. The show's already full of that type of content. We don't need that.
Oh god. Right. But yeah, it was a good scene. Let's just keep it at that then, shall we?
Yeah. No, it wasn't a good scene. It was a bad scene.
It was a bad scene. Yes, I meant that was a bad scene. Like it was a hug. He fainted. Like, come on, Donnie, get your act together.
No. It was April who was at fault. Only can give a hug. I mean,
Yeah.
not to mention, she knows about Donnie and all that. And yet, all a hug. But yeah, then we do have, okay, so, the next thing we have is Shredder and Krang, and they're saying that the plan is in motion. So, two questions. Okay, so one, what do you think about the scene? And what do you think the plan is?
One, this scene was absolute. This is what blew me out the water. Like this threw me off entirely. Like like I said, this scene gave me so many. This episode in general gave me so many questions, and I was like, "Whoa, when did this happen?" And now talking out loud to it, I do remember that the Krang and Shredder, well, the Shredder was interrogating the Krang, and of course they said, oh, maybe this will benefit us, but I didn't know they had like a huge meeting with the Krang at TCRI. I just got really confused by it. Like, the Krang and Shredder and the Foot working together, it was awesome, but it just threw me out the water completely, because I didn't think we would see that until at least a couple of episodes on further, but I did say that on previous episodes that I would love to see the allegiance and the alliances form, and now that we've got it, it's finally come true. But it did throw me out the water quite a bit.
Yeah, I would say with this scene, like this is what I've been saying with like the past episodes, is that I do think that the Krang and Shredder should have met up, or at least start working together a few more episodes before episode 20 or 21, or a few episodes before they actually met, just so they could build up this like allegiance and all that. Because you go into this episode after like nothing happened in the last episode, But the episode before that, they were sort of talking things out and actually working together. They go into this episode, and now they're working together to do like a big plan and all that. So it did feel a bit out of place, but yeah. Okay, so going to the other question, what do you think is the plan?
Well, of course, we do know that Kirby is involved with this plan, and of course that the Krang and the Shredder are working together. I think that it's a mutual benefit of a doubt. Like the Shredder involved with the Krang, like the Krang wants April O'Neil. That is their prime directive. That's what they want. Because she has this super hearing ability that can help them aid in their invasion of Earth. That's what I'm thinking. But then, of course, the Shredder wants to destroy the Turtles and Master Splinter. So I see this as a relationship, like a mutual benefit relationship. So the Krang gets April, and the Shredder gets his lifelong dream of destroying the Turtles completely. So that's what I see it as at the moment.
I guess we'll find out next week. Dun 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 dun. And then the last scene is Kirby giving a hug to April, and then him just having an angry look on his face. What do you think about the scene?
To be honest, this is what also set me off as well. Like, I had so many questions. Like, hold on a minute, hold up. Why are you doing that look? Why are you acting so abnormal? Like, you're not acting like a normal human being. Like, sure, you look like one, you talk like one, but you don't feel like a normal human being. And when he gave that look, I just knew it all. And I was in shock because oh my gosh, he's gonna betray them. He's gonna absolutely annihilate them, betray them. And I couldn't formulate a question or an answer. And I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is just one big plot twist. This has all been one hoax to get into the Turtles' lives and Leia and their operations. It was just one big lie. But yeah, to be honest, I was really shocked when that happened.
Yeah, you must admit it did. I don't know if this whole show was for a lot darker audience. I mean, I can just imagine this scene, like being way more darker, and just, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say for a much darker story, he could have snapped April's neck. That gave me that the face. No, his face gave me that type of vibe that he would do that right there and then.
Jesus, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, my God.
If it was a darker show, he would have done that.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. Like if it was like set in like the 2000s in like the dark genre of that time, then maybe yeah, his look gave it all. Like I wasn't gonna say snap her neck, but like Jesus, like I meant betray, not like kill his own daughter. Like come on, that's really dark for you, Teddy. I was not expecting that. Jeez.
Well, I mean, you'd also have to think outside the box to get the best stories. So, yeah. Okay, do you want to hear some comments now?
Let's hear them.
Okay, so from the Precious Pixie, they put, I love this episode. It's one of my favourites. I also think it's funny when Raph calls Donnie adorable. Have you seen when? Yeah, I must admit, it's a really good episode. I don't think it's one of the best from the show, but I do think it's one of the best from season 1. And it's a tad bit funny for calling it adorable, but at the same time, I don't think that's our kind of humour. What do you think about that?
To be honest, I'm not too sure what to say to that. Like the scene. Sorry, what was that? The scene with Donnie again?
So basically, Raph calling him Sadorable because he's both sad and adorable.
Ah, sad, adorable. Sadorable or the
Yeah, that word.
Yeah. I didn't know what to say about that. Like, sure, it's like play on words or something.
Okay, so from Magma Striker, They put, I remember this episode being really intense, especially when Neutralizer shows up. That salamander was one of the most interesting and terrifying introductions on the show. At least, he was, when episode, at least he was when I saw the episode for the first time. Also, Mikey not being able to name something in this episode was fun as hell. His reaction to Donnie when he found out was pure gold. Yeah, I can't argue with a single thing this person said.
Nah, me neither.
Okay, Reese Masterman. I don't know why I said it like that. They put, I really love Operation Breakout. It's my favourite episode, and Neutralizer is my favourite character. So sad he was wasted, and wish he was in more episodes. So much they could have done with him, and could have made him a good guy and be and yeah, or and like some other this person has is like maybe join forces with Shredder or start his own criminal empire, and wish that had a bigger impact on the show. He has such an amazing villain, and yeah, if he was to come back and be a big major villain like Shredder or something, I would not complain. He is just such a cool character. He needs to be more.
Definitely. And I just quickly want to say, before we go on to any more comments, he is the only character that has actual weapons. In the episodes that I've seen so far, he's the only one to use lasers, guns, rocket launchers. I know Shredder used the rocket launcher in the last couple of episodes ago, but he has full-on weaponry, machine guns, laser cannons, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, it was really weird because all the time that they're fighting with blades and swords, none of them actually had any proper firearms or weaponry. But to see him with those sort of weapons was a real nice change, and I just got to say that now that was just awesome to see.
Are you thinking about the Krang?
Sorry?
Well, they have guns as well.
Yeah, I understand as well that the Krang have weapons, but they're not as cool as the Neutralizer's weapons.
I'm struggling to see your point here, because you're saying that none of the other villains don't use guns or anything like that, and yet when I point one out, you're like, oh no, it's not cool. What's your point you're trying to make here?
I was trying to understand that, sure, the Krang have their laser guns and all that, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with this one.
Okay, moving on. We've got Michael Roseland. They put, no one should hunt down the turtles. They are immortal from the beginning. I mean, I do think that the Neutralizer hunting down the turtles was probably the thing that made Neutralizer more of a threat than anything. So I thought there more characters should hunt down the turtles.
Definitely.
Okay. I guess I know I'm saying that wrong. They put, Donnie got to name a character. That was interesting since he doesn't seem to name his own inventions. I mean, he's named the T-Phone.
Yeah, and the T-Bot.
No, it doesn't name it. Yeah, no, he needs to name a lot more.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, when he accidentally created the Terminator, like, he should have come up with a name.
Actually, did he actually get a name, or is it just because we know the name from the credits? I don't think he gave his name in the show.
I thought they called him the Terminator or something, but I guess not.
Oh well. We've got Freelance Wolf. They put, great raft development in this episode. Mr. O'Neill was a jerk. Okay, I do think Mr. O'Neill was a bit of a jerk, but I do think that's not really down. It's not down to him, so we can let him off. But I don't think it gave good raft development. I'd say it gave more good Donnie development, if anything.
Oh yes, definitely. This episode was very Donnie orientated, I believe.
And it worked really well. Okay, do you want to hear some trivia now?
Let's hear it.
Okay, a chip is barely visible on the back of Kirby's neck in this episode, which is a major plot point for the next episode. In the few scenes, Spike is eating popcorn. In real life, it's not recommended to feed popcorn or any grains to pet tortoise, because they cannot digest it. Oh, so we've got
That's
suicidal
very
turtle.
interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't feed a turtle popcorn anyways.
Yeah, okay. I'm very concerned of why they put in that scene of a turtle trying to commit suicide.
Oh God.
Venusia's is not credited with a voice actor in this episode because he has no speaking parts whatsoever. However, in the next episode which he is in, he is given a voice actor. Now, do you want to wait until that, or do you want to wait till the episode, or do you want to hear who the actor is now?
Ooh, I'm not too sure. It would be nice to know the actor now, but I'm thinking that would be a much more greater development for that
I mean,
episode to come.
you'll probably forget about it next time we actually get to it. um.
Oh,
Okay, this is the last standalone episode in season 1 for the 2012 show. We do have some errors. At the beginning, when Raph and Donnie were talking in circles with their weapons out, the bandages on Donnie's staff are gone. But when he starts twirling it, the bandages appear again. In the end, where Shredder was walking with his foot soldiers, the foot soldiers on the left hand had no light lit up. And what? I said it wrong. The foot soldier has eyes on the left, had no lights lit up. That made a bit more sense.
hmm.
Okay, so for the cast, we've got Mae Whitman as April O'Neil, Rob Paulson as Donatello, Keith Silverstein as Kirby O'Neil, No North as the Krang, Jason Biggs as Leonardo, Greg Sipes as Michelangelo, Sean Astin as Raphael, Kevin Michael Richardson as Shredder, and Hoon Lee as Splinter. Okay, who do we want to look into? I can't remember if we've done Mae Whitman or Kirby. I feel like we've done Kirby before.
Did we? I don't think we did.
Well, don't do Mae Whitman, because I don't think we've done her before.
No, I don't actually. Yeah, I don't think we have. I know we did Humley last week's episode, but I don't think we've done her. So yeah, let's see what about her is.
Yeah, no, I just realised if we keep doing this, in the end, we're probably going to be redoing quite a few of these people anyway, so it won't really matter too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh god, Mae Margaret Whitman. What an awful name. Okay, she was born June 9th, 1988. She's 34 years old. She is a popular voice and live action actress. Her best known roles are Roxy Richer in the Scott Pilgrimage versus the World. She also voiced Lisa Miller in the animated promo adaptation Scott Pilgrimage versus the Animation, and the voice of Katara in Avatar: The Last Airbender. She also does the voice in Batman: The Brave and the Bold and DC Superheroes Girls. Anne Lee Quagmire in Family Guy. Yuffie, she's in the Kingdom Hearts 2 and Final Fantasy 7 materials is Rose. Rose from the American Dragon, Jake Long, Daint Basco, who also provides the voice with her Avatar of the Last Airbender. God, this is getting confused now. Oh, she does the voice of Tinkerbell. And then she also was the voice of Wonder Girl in Young Justice. And yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen any of her stuff that she's been in. Have you?
I've seen some of the Airbender, but not any of the rest. To be honest, I didn't pick up on the Airbender. Was that the TV series or was that the movie that she did?
Did the voice of Katara in the show, so pretty sure that would be the show then.
That would be the TV show. Yeah, I don't think I've picked up on that.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Okay, so with next week's episode, so next week's one is a special one because it's the season 1 finale. So that means we'll be watching both parts. It is called Showdown Part 1 and Part 2. What do you think is going to happen in those 2 episodes?
Oh, jeez.
Keep in mind that everything, and just keep in mind like everything that's happened in the show so far has all been leading up to this, and I mean everything.
Oh my gosh. Right. I didn't think we were that close to finishing the season.
Yep.
Like I thought we had a couple more episodes. This kind of changes everything. My initial idea was that it was going to take a little longer to get where we were going to go, but I'm thinking it's the Turtles versus the Krang, the Foot, and Shredder, the Dog Pound as well. Everyone's going to be there. It's going to be like some sort of end game battle. It's going to be absolutely crazy, insane. To be honest, I really don't know. Like, I think now that I've heard the word showdown, I believe that the betrayal is going to take place then. And of course, the battle is going to commence, like I said before. And I think the betrayal is going to come a lot sooner than I anticipated. So, yeah, I really don't know. I'm quite stumped on next week's episode. I really don't know.
I like how you think that like an endgame type battle, which was like the peak for MCU, will happen at the end of season 1, when there is still 4 more seasons left to go.
Well, who knows?
Gotta dream big. Yeah, do you have anything else to say about this episode?
Not really, no, but except from the Neutralizer being my new favourite character, that is such a cool guy. Like, his character model, his design, his presence, you'd have no dialect whatsoever for this character, but this character works so well on how he just enters the room, does what he needs to do, and gets out with little to no ease, and it's just an awesome character with his weapons, his just overall presence is dominant. It's alpha. It's the GOAT. It's just there in your face, and he doesn't mess around. And I just love how he just destroys Krang, and destroying the Krang is a favourite thing of mine. So yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, like, Neutralizer is just like a mood, I would say now. And the thing is, I'd really love to see like a horror movie of him in with like Turtles.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Okay, before we do get sidetracked and go on another little rant, yeah, so if you don't want to get onto the podcast, you can leave a comment in the comment section of the YouTube video or the community tab of when talking about it. You can leave a comment on Reddit, you can leave one on Facebook, you can leave one on Anchor, either text or voice. I think that's everywhere. But yeah, this has been another episode of Talking Tales. I've been your host Teddy.
I've been Hayden.
And we see you all soon. Goodbye. Yo. Bye.
Bye.